What's up, guys? My name is TechnoTuner, and today we're taking a look at Vanquish Soul. How are we going to fix it post-ban list? Is it really worth playing? Is it not? So, for this deck, I'm going to show you two different versions. One that's pure, one that is K9 focused. This deck is very fun, has a lot of capability. If you're looking for a deck that has the possibility of bouncing between effects and activations and setting up big monsters on the board, basically kind of swapping in and out your fighters for their effects and protection while also setting up some interaction as well, you have that option. This deck is very fun. I've enjoyed playing it since it came out. Now my luck with the K9's not so much, but I still do enjoy the deck greatly, even whether it's pure or K9 variant. This deck has still one of the better capabilities of really setting up boards and going through and setting up powerhouse moves as well. But let's go ahead and hop right into the actual deck, and I'll explain a little bit more as to what I think would be a good build for K9 moving forward and for the pure Vanquish Soul. So for K9, the variant, I think that running 3 Azuna, 1 Jokul, 1 Lantern, and 2 Lupus is probably better than running the whole K9 Noroi package. Overall, I don't really like Noroi. It's an additional normal summon. We're already running the 6 normal summons as is. It doesn't really help us with our follow combo. Plus, if it gets impermed or effect veilered or ashed, we're basically just sitting there with no capability of really extending or doing anything else. Now, as for the actual Vanquish Souls, of course, we're playing the 3 Rosin, the 3 Mad Love, 1 Borger, 1 Holly Sue, 3 Xylong, and 1 Caesar Vias, or Valius, along with the 1 Vanquish Soul Pantera. Now, a lot of people don't play her, but she is effectively our special summon, but she's also a good spell and trap pop if you reveal a Earth and a Fire, which can help out greatly in the grind game, especially against some of the decks that are back row dependent. Now, I will state that this deck does have the same capability of setting up those big Xyz monsters, those further plays to really interact and get through on some destruction and bouncing effects and effect negation. The one thing that I will state is I don't think it's enough. This deck does have full capability of really interacting with your opponent still and getting through with the K9 plays for a turn 1 or turn 0 play if you draw into the Azuna or the Holly Sue. But overall, it's not effectively enough for the deck to really maintain that tier 1 to tier 0 level. This is more of a tier 1.5-ish to tier 2 deck, mainly because you're looking at the deck overall as a whole. This deck does revolve around a lot of further capabilities, whether it be dark, earth, or fire, but it does have the capability of going through your Azunas pretty fast, which is basically if your opponents activate a monster effect from hand or a monster effect this turn in their hand or graveyard, you can special summon it, then send 1 K9 card, which would be usually the Lupus, because Lupus then revives itself, as it has the main effect whether your opponent activates a monster effect in hand or graveyard. You can special summon it from hand or graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field, allowing you to go into your rank 5s, keep that material around. Now, this deck does have the full hand capability. It doesn't really break boards as it did at the max power capability it had during the World Championship Series, but it still has a lot of staying power, especially going first, because you can set up those interactions, those negations to really work against your opponent. Because Rosin, now that's at 3, we don't have to really worry about searching as much, but we also have the full capability of destroying all other monsters in the card's column as an interactable pop. But we also have Mad Love as being able to make it to where our opponent's monsters lose 500, and we get to set up with the actual field spell, which gets us into another Vanquish Soul monster. Now, is it very helpful to deal with using Mulcharmies? The Mulcharmy follow still hits this deck pretty decently hard, mainly because it's more extra deck reliant, and you still need to utilize your extra deck to really push for extra advantage. Now, you can still get decent control with this board, which is usually ending on 2, 3 rank 5s and a Rock Vanquisher, Rock of Vanquisher, excuse me. But you can also make some changes as well. Cut out, say, the number 101 in the Dark Honor arc and run a IP and SP for further interaction. You can do other plays such as cutting K9-17 Ripper down to one K9 Jax for that interactable pop. The other thing is K9X Werewolf is very helpful, but the actual quick play becomes more of a brick because the force release can actually hurt you versus help you. This deck is still a lot of fun nonetheless, still has a lot of power behind it, but it's a lot less resilient than what it once was, mainly given the Dogmatica cards and the new branded support that's coming out in Burst Protocol. This deck does have full board capability of setting up the negates and really playing and giving you some in-depth chains or interactions. I think I still have yet to see a deck that really has this many interactions in general with your opponent, but you have to know your timings very well and your interactions very well. If not, you will be sitting on the sidelines wondering what happened. Now, as for those that are kind of curious, why are we just running, say, only 9 hand traps? Well, right now, Droll may be falling out of the actual circuit because it doesn't really affect anything outside of Yummy and maybe K9 itself. It doesn't really affect Dracotail all that much. Dracotail is more graveyard or hand reliant or special summon reliant, so Flawless would still be better, but the other case on that is Nibiru doesn't do much to it, so what can you do to really interact with it? Main thing I would look towards is improving the Arthalion, ghost spelling the graveyard effects, all of that. Even running a D-shifter may be even beneficial. This deck still has a lot to where it can work with, such as setting up Nash Knight with a Honor Arc to steal your opponent's monster. You can also do Silent Honor Arc to steal as a quick effect, which can help out greatly. You can go into C107 for OTK purposes. You can use C104 as a negation and having your opponent's life points. You have the Zeus for further breaking of boards. You have the Nash Knight combo, which I was already explaining. You also have Hand Rip through Werewolf and Hand Protection through Ripper. And Summon Protection. Typhon is in case you're in a losing stance. And Valen also helps for Book of Mooning, a monster you don't really want contending. The one thing I will state, this deck is very resilient, but it does fall flat on its face to any craft if they flip all your monsters face down, let alone really just kind of force you into a backseat kind of thing if they can't out your monsters. Or if you can't out them. Now, the other thing I will state is Dracotail can still play through a lot of these interactions. It didn't really lose much outside of a Ketu and two Ketus, 2 Malulu, but given the branded stuff, it's basically custom cards. Now, this deck overall, competitively wise, if you're still looking to play for fun, this is definitely a regional or locals top. It's something fun overall. This deck is mainly working around the whole thing, like I said earlier, where you're going to be using the Vanquish Soul engine to really just push and go for the normal Vanquish Soul plays before we had the K9s, but also looking at the K9s as further extenders and protection isolation for your plays dependent. Now, a lot of people are like, well, if you only got one Holly Sue and one Jokel, why aren't you playing Chaotic Elements or anything like that to search the other Jokel? In most cases, if you're running the Chaotic Elements, I feel like you're going to be bricking anyways because that's just Ash in hand. That's just bait for Ash or a Droll. At this point, you're better off playing Azuna to send Lupus, or send the Jokel itself if you have Lantern in hand. There's a lot of capability to just get it back and play through that. Either way, this deck does have further plays aside from that that can still let you go. Like, you don't have to really rely on the K9s as much anymore, given that Vanquish Soul itself is still a lot of fun to play, has that further interaction, and does give you a lot more board breaking capability, which I'll show you in the more pure build as we get there. But anyways, that's all that I have for this first deck profile. The one thing I will state that not a lot of people do pay attention to Vanquish Soul is Vanquish Soul Snow Devil. You can reveal up to one Earth, Fire, and Dark monster, and then go off their base chains. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for this deck profile. Let's hop right into the next one. All right, hopping into the second deck profile. Yeah, as you can see, the actual pure Vanquish Soul has more capabilities for interaction because you're running a Kashtira package instead of really the K9 package. The Kashtira package, while yes, it does get you your Earth and Fires, it does offer up a free special summon and capability to search for that Rise Heart, give you that level 7 play, but it also gives you that rank 7 play, but it also gives you that further capability of getting an extra body while also betting the Ash or anything else along those lines before you go straight into either Rosin or Mad Love for further plays. This also gives you another body to search for Pantera using Stake Your Soul. Since we got that back to 3, these searchers are going to be a lot more beneficial. But this deck is very extra deck less reliant to the point where we don't really have to worry about the extra deck as much. It's more there as a backup in case we can't really out it with our main deck. Being able to run more board breakers, more capability to actually go further into your opponent's board and not have to really worry about follows can help you out greatly. This deck, even though you were special summoning a lot from your hand and really working with the cards that you have, for example, going from Rosin into Borger or Mad Love into Caesar Valius, you have that capability of being able to really interact with your opponent, but also give yourself a little bit more protection. You're also preventing your opponent from actually drawing cards because, as you can see, it follows. Each time your opponent special summons a monster from the deck or extra deck, this deck doesn't necessarily need to do that because you're more special summoning from your hand than the actual deck. This gives you more capabilities. So we're probably going to be seeing where Perulia and Meows are going to be more beneficial moving forward for more decks. Now, given that, hey, we're not using the extra deck as much, or hey, we're not utilizing this as much, we can see about cutting out further cards such as the Swallows to give us more interaction. We can replace the Swallows with Ghost Spells to make it harder for our opponent to use graveyard effects or get cards back with our Thalion. We can run 3 Imperms for further negation. We can run more board breakers, Harpy Feather Duster, other hand traps, just to further interact and keep our opponent on a lock. This deck still has that further capability to keep that protection up, but offer that greater interaction as well. The pure build, I feel, is more fun and more compliant with how the actual Vanquish Soul deck works, and it offers you a lot more protection and interaction than K9 does. While K9 does give you that turn 1 play capability and further interaction with hand traps, you don't really have to be hand trap reliant here since we really don't have more than one Holly Sue. Because Holly Sue is basically our main way to get an extra body onto the board for rank 5 plays. Given this, we don't really, like I was saying, we don't have to use the actual extra deck as much because we're just basically wanting to keep our 2 Rock of the Vanquisher. We can utilize any of these as much as we want, but they're not necessary. Like you can cut Ripper, you can cut the rank 5 play, you can put in Lynx, you can put in anything you really want to really work with this deck. It gives you a lot more capabilities. The other thing I will state with this is that you're able to run Pot of Prosperity for that extra draw. You're able to work in Vanquish Soul Dust Devil, being able to change its battle position and change a face-up monster opponent controls to face-down defense position, being able to give you that further interaction. You can also run 2 Snow Devil if you wanted. We're also running 2 Vanquish Soul Start because this deck really can play off of that and it's not a dead card in hand as much. While we're also minimizing like the amount of potential bricks in the deck or other engines, a more pure build gives us more capabilities to further experiment and work with the actual capabilities of the deck and improve your skill set with timings and interactions and balancing with each of the Vanquish Soul effects, whether it be the steal or the summon, changing the battle position or adding a Vanquish Soul, popping a monster or protecting it, popping a card in general or making it unaffected, making your opponents lose monsters lose 500 attack and defense, or returning a monster with the lowest defense on the field to the hand. Pantera, being able to summon or basically get a spell trap pop or protecting it from being destroyed by battle this turn. All this is furthermore isolated or insulated, I should say, into the actual pure build, where it's not extra deck reliant. It's not reliant on really needing your opponent to interact. You just have those capabilities of, oh, okay, if they interact, I still have plays and more capabilities of bouncing. If you really wanted to, you could put Borger to 3. It's not going to feel bad running Borger at 3. He is a innate card draw because you could just reveal a dark, draw a card. Or if you're trying to get your life points low enough, your opponent's life points low enough to where you can go for game, you can use this other effect, which is an Earth and a Fire, and inflict 1500 damage to your opponent. There's still a lot there that you can still work with, while even giving the Kashtira engine just further access to give you the capability to further break your opponent's board, or just being able to get those extenders as you need for the link plays, or just being able to get for a tribute summon if you need it for, say, Borger, Holly Sue, or Xylong. It's basically up to you on how you want to see it go. But that's all I have for these two decks, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's actual video. If you did, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.